Good afternoon and welcome to our mission status briefing for Flight Day 8 of Discovery's mission to the International Space Station. Here to tell you about the crew's day on orbit, we have Ron Spence, International Space Station Flight Director. We'll let him open with opening remarks, and then we'll take questions from Johnson Space Center and the phone bridge.
All right, thank you. Well, the mission's proceeding very well. So far, the crew has transferred about 90% of the resupply items that were delivered in the Leonardo logistics module over to the station, and now they're primarily concentrating the rest of the mission on the return items that will come back to the ground in that module. We're about 60% done with transfer overall, with the stuff going to station and the stuff going back. Crew's already completed 2 EVAs this mission so far, so today is a much deserved off-duty half day for the station crew and the shuttle crew. That's what they've been doing the first half of the day. This afternoon, they will get back to work and start preparations for tomorrow's third and final EVA of the mission. That will include procedure review of the tasks they have on tap for tomorrow's EVA, as well as getting their EVA tools together, and then going into the camp out overnight again to get ready for the EVA. With that, everything's proceeding nominal, as I said before, and I'll take questions.
Okay, we'll start here in the room. If you can say your name and affiliation before your question.
Bill Harwood with CBS News, and I just had one question, and it was about the debris flyby today. And the only reason I had the question, I understand it's no threat to the station. 1.3 kilometers was very close, obviously, and my assumption was that because it was such a large object, you had such precise tracking that you really didn't need to do anything, and that was the reason. But can you just talk about the box and how this played into that missed distance? Because it just seemed closer than you guys usually accept.
Okay, well, the way we do all of this is we get tracking data from Space Command on the objects that are a threat to the space station, and some of those objects we can track very well, some of them we can't track as well. This one we could track very well, so even though the missed distance was only 1.3 kilometers, we were very confident in our tracking of it, so we knew that it was going to be a near miss without a threat of collision. And we actually calculate a probability of collision for all of these items, which factors in the uncertainty we have as to where this object is going to be. And since this object was so well tracked, we calculated a probability of collision of 0, so we knew we were okay.
And can you explain, for general purposes and flight rule purposes, how the boxes define the thing that makes you stop and decide you need to go look at something?
Sure. Initially, we have just a screening box that we have, which is 0.75 kilometers radial miss, which would be up or down compared to station, by 25 kilometers in cross track, which would be to the left or right, by 25 kilometers down track, which is either in front or behind us. And so Space Command will alert us of any debris objects out there that are going to get that close to us. And then they increase tasking on those objects to try to get a better solution and decrease the uncertainty. And then we calculate a probability of collision on that based on the data that Space Command gives us on the object. And if the probability of collision is greater than 10 to the minus 5, then we will begin to start looking at taking action.
So if it's 1 in 10,000 or greater, then you don't need to mess with it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, 1 in 10,000 or less.
Or less, yeah. Okay, I think that does it. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, I think we have one reporter also on the phone bridge, Charles Atkeison from SpaceLaunchNews.com.
Thank you. Ron, Charles Atkeison, SpaceLaunchNews.com. Can you list a few of the items which were transferred today from the MPLM?
We have not done any transfer today. The numbers I gave you were the summary of the mission overall thus far. They will begin doing transfer again this afternoon, and I don't have the list of the specific items, but it's mostly going to be items going back into the MPLM for return now. And in general, those items tend to be packing material from the objects that were either delivered during this mission or on previous missions, trash, and sometimes hardware that we want to take a look at on the ground and maybe refurbish to fly again or was just no longer needed.
Okay, thank you. Because I saw the execute package went from 76% earlier to the 90s you had just mentioned, and that was why. The Ares 1 motor test was reset for this Thursday. What have you heard? Does a late October launch of the 1X sound likely at KSC?
I'm sorry, I can't give you any updated information on that. I've been focusing on the 17A space shuttle mission during this week.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that was our last question then. We'll head back to live mission coverage of the STS-128 mission. The crew is still in their off-duty time right now, but at 7:54 p.m. Central Time, they'll take some time out for the Joint Crew News Conference for this mission. Again, that's at 7:54. Then after that, spacewalkers Danny Olivas and Christopher Fugelsang will begin their camp out in preparation for the final spacewalk of the mission at 1:24 a.m. And Discovery's crew is going to go to sleep around 3 a.m. Central Time. We'll have the flight director update on console at 8:30 a.m. and then the crew will get their wake-up call at 10:59 a.m. and we'll have our next briefing after tomorrow's spacewalk. In the meantime, you can keep up with all of this on NASA's website at www.nasa.gov. Thanks.